Charlottesville Inside Out is made possible thanks in part to its patrons, committed to supporting the people, places, and quality of life that uniquely define Charlottesville and its surroundings, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Swimming is a lifelong skill, and it's a life-saving skill.
Love. The MLK Community Choir is love.
For WHTJ, I'm Terry Allard, and this is Charlottesville Inside Out.
This group of people are so easy to organize. I just love it. It's like the highlight of my year.
We all look forward every year getting together, singing and just making good music. And this is one way of bringing the community together.
I get welcomed with open arms, and even though I'm of the Jewish faith, I feel that I have a home with this choir.
Hey, 1, 2, hey.
Today we're going to hear from a choir that has been gathering every year for over 3 decades. Made up of area residents and local houses of worship, they join together in song to celebrate the ideals of Dr. King. Join us as we visit the Martin Luther King Community Choir. Come on. So Cindy, what inspired you all to start the choir?
Originally, we didn't have a choir. The community celebration started back in '84, and it was an effort on the part of the NAACP to commemorate the MLK holiday and get that started here in the community. So it was just a service and to honor a community member for their dedication to the ideals and values of Dr. King. And so it didn't start with a choir. The choir didn't come in until about 3 years later.
And Jonathan, is that because
That's kind of when I came in. The first year of the choir, Thomas Bryant was conducting the choir, former musician in this area. And then the second year, he invited me to come participate. And I was supposed to just play one song. And kind of over the years morphed into a lot more songs.
So paint a picture for us. Who is in the choir? Who can join the choir?
The choir, I think, when it first started out, it had been a couple of local church choirs came together. It was Mount Zion First Baptist, Zion Union, Ebenezer. And it was basically the local churches in the downtown area came together. And it just keeps growing. It just keeps growing. Students from the high school, students from the university started joining us. And it really has become the real community.
It's not just gospel, it's not just an anthem, but it's a mixture. We've even done some Jewish numbers.
Yeah,
so you really are trying to make it accessible to everybody and maybe something that they're not normally doing in their choir. So that it's a little challenging and exciting?
As Dr. Wood says, we try to get music that kind of goes across the board. But it does give people the opportunity to sing things that they don't normally would sing in maybe their normal church services as well, and to experience people from other cultures. We're here within our own community, so the practice of that.
And why is that so important?
Well, see, Dr. King, it wasn't just about African Americans, it's about everybody. It was for the whole world. And so if you're going to look at the whole world, then it has to be eclectic, it has to have diversity, and black, white, Jewish, Protestants, you name it. And I wanted to make sure that we have diversity in all that we do, in our singing as well as in our speakers.
In June of 1964, 16 rabbis were arrested for their participation in civil rights activities in St. Augustine, Florida.
Dr. King marched in Birmingham, he marched in Selma, he marched in Montgomery, he marched in Albany, he marched in Washington, D.C. He marched again and again and again and again and again. And it could be said symbolically that he died marching.
Talk a little bit about the speaker. So every event there is a national, sometimes local, but there's a special speaker. Talk about...
Yeah, YT is probably one of my favorites. Because
for those who don't know, who is that?
YT Walker was a member from the Civil Rights era, worked with Dr. King and pastored a church in New York City. But he's also a musician and had written several books on spirituals and music of the Black church. And so it was really having this person alive here with us. So when we did a spiritual that year, he could actually give some input to the choir.
Oh, how incredible.
So it really was.
Wait, and also then you have an award recipient every year. How do you choose this person? And who are these people? Are they students? Are they community members?
They're from everywhere. We accept nominations from the community at large, and then we vote on them as a committee to make the selection.
They are locals. And there are people that we can touch and our children can touch and can actually have some insight into who they are and what, the fact that you get to do today because what these people did yesterday.
Mrs. Teresa Jackson Walker Price.
Our offering today will be going to Sisters Keepers Collective.
How does the choir prepare? Do they rehearse?
Yes, we definitely had a lot of rehearsals. We start usually the first week in January. We alternate Tuesdays and Saturdays. I usually get with the musicians and staff that work on ideas of songs, and I'll come up with a couple of ideas. People give me some ideas for songs, and we pick things that we think they're going to be really a good challenge. So that's open to everybody to come in and join us and have fun, and we'll do about five rehearsals generally to get ready for the King celebration.
Well, and also, some of these are people who are musicians in the community, some belong to choirs, but some are just people who really want to sing. You don't really have to be a singer to participate. You just have to have a desire to sing and join in.
Then there's a group of musicians who work to put the band part together, and so that all comes together, and we put it all together at the end. We're on about the fourth rehearsal, and it really just an exciting time. It just keeps growing.
It's truly a community effort.
It really is.
It is truly a community effort, and it's been going on for over 3 decades.
30.
Tell us a little bit about the crowd and the community and the involvement. How has it grown over the years?
Oh, I mean, the first celebration was at Trinity Episcopal Church, and there were probably 70 people there. The next year we were at Trinity again, and it grew a little bit. And then, so from that to this, where we have hundreds of singers and hundreds of community members come together to have this community celebration. And I don't think we get that very often here. And if you look out, it's just an amazing rainbow of people.
Jonathan, you wanted to have a concert in 2018 in the summer to mark the anniversary of the events of August 11th and 12th. Normally normally the choir plays once a year and sings in January.
The 2018 celebration was just like an exciting time for us as a choir. The music was great. Well, we sung a piece called Harambe, and the text being Harambe, we all pulled together. And the text was like, let us all pull together to provoke love and good deeds. And it really resonated with everyone in the room when we were singing it, the choir, the musicians, everybody, the audience, I think, really caught it. And we've been always wanting to do something else during the course of the year. And so 2 people came to me and said, can we pick up off the Harambe idea? And I thought, wow, this will be a great opportunity to keep this whole Harambe piece going. The goal was to try to get maybe 100 singers to come together, sing out of the park, and we were going to do a couple songs. And then all of a sudden, it just blossomed, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And so we said 300, and then we were at 450, and we just kept growing. I think we ended up close to about 800-900 people coming in that day to be here. But it also said this was a time when the community needed to come together for 1 hour and just be the Harambe, just all pulled together. Let's just be a community. It wasn't about whether you were black, white, Jewish, Protestant, or anything. It was just community. We were all community. And it was just one of the most exciting times. We're looking at carrying it on even more so now. The committed people are already asking. Everywhere I go and people will stop and say, I remember that day.
We are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives.
So from the community, how can people get involved if they want to help you keep all those wheels turning?
We're trying to continue our involvement of all the other clergy and other community members to, again, keep it true to what it has been.
So people can get involved by singing, or they can get involved by volunteering and helping to organize everything?
Yeah.
And where do you see this down the road?
You know, I don't know. I see it to continue to grow, and I see it as being a very positive message to our community that we can come together on something that benefits everybody and has a positive effect on their lives, because that's what matters. My favorite saying is that if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with the word of song, if I can show somebody they're traveling wrong, then my living's not in vain. And that's what Dr. King was about, and that's the message I want to send to everybody, is to learn to help somebody else.
I think that one of the most important messages coming from MLK is about unity and togetherness. Just because you don't look like me doesn't mean that I can't respect you or hear what you have to say. I may not agree with it, but we can meet at a good enough point that it's still fine.
The MLK Choir is a wonderful, wonderful group of people, and I look forward to singing and getting together and fellowshipping with the choir each and every year. This is why I've done it for 33 years.
The most important trait that people come and bring to this is their enthusiasm and their selves, because when we are together, we are so much stronger than we are individually, and that's what this choir means to me.
For me, it's like a piece of heaven, because when we all get to heaven, it's not going to be divided. Everybody's going to be together, and it's going to be a heavenly choir. It's just going to be beautiful. Everybody's singing in harmony and love and unity.
So we sing out, I'm gonna sing out, yo. Gonna march on, I'm gonna sing, yeah. Hey, I'm gonna march on, gonna keep moving forward.
I can tread water, and I can swim a full 25, I think it's yards, and I just feel more comfortable in the water, and I feel like I can finally be in the water by myself without feeling scared.
When you have a child that's terrified to put their feet in the water and you progress them to being able to go under the water, hold their breath, actually feel okay being in the water, that's a big deal.
Today we're going to learn about an organization that was founded to honor the memory of a passionate swimmer in our community by teaching others this personal, important, life-saving skill. Join us as we talk with Gordon Hare and Eric Lamb of the Benjamin Hare Just Swim for Life Foundation. Come on.
We provide free swim lessons to the underprivileged and the underserved communities here in the Charlottesville area. We're not trying to make Michael Phelps. We're just trying to, if a child would fall in the water, we're trying to make sure they can get out safely.
Okay,
we wouldn't refuse a Michael Phelps, though.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, we wouldn't refuse a Michael Phelps.
So, Gordon, tell us why the foundation was started and then how you went about doing that.
Well, I had just retired Ben was killed in a car accident.
Now tell us who Ben was.
Benjamin Hare. He was my son. He was just finishing his first semester pharmacy school. He graduated from Virginia Tech, and he was killed in a car accident, and he was a swimmer. The swim families in town kind of got together and asked me if I would start a foundation in his name. I didn't have anything to do. I was pretty naive, but I said, sure. And it probably saved my life, being able to work for him all the time. To tell a story about Ben that tends to sum it up to me, he was a lifeguard at Meade Pool, and I used to make fun of him, saying, you really don't have a job if you're sitting around a table with 6 good-looking girls in swimsuits. So they remodeled Meade Pool, and he came home after the first day of the remodel, and he was like white. And I said, what's wrong? And he says, Dad, I had 9 saves today. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, I don't know. The kids were just jumping in the lazy river. They were going down the water slide, and they weren't coming up, and I was pulling them out of the water, and it was asking them what was the problem, and they said, well, we were just, it looked like everyone was having a good time. I just assumed the bubbles would bring me up. So that was weighed very heavily in me starting to realize that a tremendous amount of our kids that don't have access to water do not know how to swim.
So Eric, talk about the programs that you all have been offering to the kids in the community. Talk about what you're bringing.
Absolutely. So we offer a number of wonderful programs to this. Well, just this past summer, we did a great summer refugee program where we had 60 children from all over the world in the water at the Piedmont Family YMCA, most of which had never seen a pool before. But just in the course of 5 weeks, the way that we teach, most of those children were using kickboards, swimming the entire length of the pool and back. We tend to teach in a more relaxed, comfortable environment and make it fun. We want it to be a fun, energetic, happy place.
Yeah.
To make a positive reference, with the water.
Talk about the program where you serve every 2nd grader in the Charlottesville City Schools.
We serve every 5th grader in the...
Oh, 5th grader.
Yeah, 5th grader in the Charlottesville City Schools. So a few years back, there was a small child that drowned.
This was an English second language picnic, and one of the little girls drowned, and they wrote a letter to Rosa Atkins, and the superintendent. Yeah. And she's the one that actually started the program. She said, get a hold of Gordon Hare and start a Learn to Swim program.
But the big thing is keeping your head down under that water, like right here, looking down at that black line.
We've been jumping off the diving board and doing a lot of diving practice and a bunch of swimming up and down in the pool and kickboarding and stuff like that.
I like swimming a lot because it's really fun. And I'm a really energetic person, so it helps get all my energy out and stuff.
I love the support that we get from the Ben Hare program and our superintendent Rosa. I love that the children love this program, and we have kids daily. Even they know our situation, they know our schedule. Still come up. When do we get to go swimming? Do we get to go swimming? When do we get to go over the pool? So I would love to see this continue, and it's a great thing for the Charlottesville City Schools.
We really perceived ourselves as just sitting around this table writing okays to grants. We didn't really realize we were going to be going out in the community, setting up the aquatics program, talking people into teaching. I was so naive when I started this. I did not realize that there was actually children that did not know how to swim.
Just a few years back, we did a study through UVA just to poll the community to see, what number of people in town could not swim. We were shocked. That number's over 60%. That's kind of appalling, you know, when you think of this community with as much water as we have here. That's a real safety concern.
So we talk about that now. There are all these different pools in the communities with which you partner now. Talk about these.
We partner with Charlottesville Parks and Rec. We partner with the 2 ACAC pools. We partner with Fairview.
Piedmont Family YMCA.
And, and both Crozet and the Brooks. So we were kind of the charity end of the Jefferson Swim League. And we use 68 of their swimmers that become swim aides that volunteer as community service, and that's okayed by their high schools.
So they're helping to instruct.
So they instruct. And we have these kids that now have learned to swim and grown up, and now they're actually volunteering and teaching swimming. It's the same swimmers from these 18 teams that donate their caps and swimsuits that we supply these children
that you give
to learn
them.
to swim.
That we give
forever.
Yes.
Forever.
One of the first programs that the foundation did, they were at Greer School, and this one little girl came up, and you know, Gordon had given her a swimsuit, and she had it on, and she was so proud, and she said, "Can I keep this?" And just the feeling, just the look on his face when he tells that story.
It was like seeing about 60 Christmas smiles.
Oh my goodness.
So since then, we have swimsuits at every one of our partner pools, and the lifeguards, if someone comes to the pool and they have a suit that doesn't fit well, then they take them back in and give them a suit that fits.
Take your foot up and plant it, and then push.
And Miss LL, she helped me a lot. And I really like the fact that she helped me because I was scared to go in 12 feet and tread water, but now I'm really not. And Coach A, he helped me backstroke and stuff, so I'm not scared really anymore.
It's another way to get exercise, and it's really fun to swim. We've done games where we chase each other in the water. We've done diving off the diving board. We've done races.
It feels amazing because I feel like if I were to go to the beach or something, when I would go too far out, I would get scared. But now I feel like I can actually swim, and I would be able to actually, you know, do what I want to do in the water.
A lot of parents that can't swim or never had the ability to learn how to swim, they drill into their kids, you know, don't go into the water, don't go near it because it's dangerous. So I think it's important, you know, to just re-embrace that back into some families that didn't get the opportunity to have swim lessons like I did, to just learn the simple basics of swimming, you know, so you can swim at least down or halfway and be able to get to the wall knowing that, hey, my kid is safe and they will be fine in 3 to 5 feet of water.
All right, Leo.
So what does it mean to be able to swim? What do the students have to be able to do?
Our goal is that they're able to swim 15 yards on their front and their back and tread water for about 20 or 30 seconds. So in other words, if they were in the middle of the pool, they would be able to swim to the edge of the pool.
You have events. You have a handful of events that happen throughout the year. Tell us
We
a little
do.
about
We have
those.
an annual Ben Hare swim meet. You know, swim and dive meet. It is in January each year.
Then we have an open water meet. It has been held at Lake Anna. Now we moved it to Blacksburg. But the open water meet is a fundraiser.
So where do you see the foundation headed in the future?
We want to work on improving health outcomes, working on obesity and diabetes and cardiovascular. This is a low impact sport, and we want to try to keep kids in the water from second grade or 2 years old to masters.
Well, that is a wonderful goal, and you must be so proud of the work that you all have been doing, and I would imagine that your son would be so very proud of you.
Well, I can already see us sitting up there someday around a table drinking a beer and Ben saying, Dad, you didn't have to do all that. But the feeling is I just can't do enough. It's like yesterday, Eric says, well, you know, it's a holiday. I was kind of had some plans, and I had all these meetings set up, and I guess at retirement, I have 365 holidays, so I didn't really realize that it was a holiday that people celebrated, and we got so much done.
We did get a lot done that day, we really did.
But
congratulations to you all, really, on all the great work, and thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this week. For WHTJ, I'm Terry Allard. Join us next time on Charlottesville Inside Out.
Charlottesville Inside Out is made possible thanks in part to its patrons, committed to supporting the people, places, and quality of life that uniquely define Charlottesville and its surroundings, and by viewers like you. Thank you.